It's powerful. So we have to understand that we have been grafted in. We are not adoptees. We have been grafted into the family of God, which means, and I mentioned this before and I'll say it again, yes, Jacob is your forefather because your DNA has changed. You are a new creature. You are not the same. You have literally been taken and you are to grow out different. You will bring and produce different fruit from your loins than a regular pear tree would produce. Because you're not the same species anymore. You have been grafted into the family of God. It is powerful. I read that about grafting and it just struck me as how powerful it is. An injury had to be created in the original tree for you to enter in. But when you enter in, you become something altogether different. You take on the nature of what you're planting. And you're not just, it is not just because of the soil and the watering and the conditions, because you have all of that too. But it's deeper than that. You literally intermingle your DNA and you become a blood-born member of that family. So whatever applies to the Jews applies to you. Whatever the nature is of Jesus applies to you because you are literally grafted in. I want that to sink into your mind. And I want you to be able to receive the fact that you're not the same person anymore. You have literally been transplanted. So you may have been this or that. You know, the devil he's great and his workers sometimes are great at talking about what someone used to be. They can give you all the reasons why everything about you is not. But what you have to know is that it doesn't matter what they say about your past. They that past doesn't apply to you. When the Bible says you're a new creature, they're not just talking. The words in the Bible are not just there for your entertainment or some rambling someone. They're telling you you're a new creature because you have literally changed your DNA. You have been planted somewhere different. You don't recognize what they claim about you. And they don't have a right, because they're not your creator, to hold you to your past. Because you're not there anymore. You're not even the same person. You know, and so there's a thing I heard someone say, wrong address. Yes, that letter you're sending that wants to talk about what I did or what I said or who I am, yeah, you put the postmark on it, you put the stamp on it, but it's a wrong address. That's not my name. And I'm not just speaking it because this is something I'm saying it because physically, I am a different person. I am completely different from anything that you have ever known about me. I don't have the nature of that person because I am a new creature. You have to embrace that. When you embrace that, first of all, you don't get to, you can decide. But if you decide now that you're going to do this and you have to be saved, then you've also decided that everything about you that made you have maybe rejection or anything about you that would have made you not embrace being who God made you to be, which is elevated. You also have to leave that because remember, there was a plant that was injured. There was a person that was injured. And we know who that person was. And you literally entered inside their body for you to walk around and to cover yourself in rejection. You are literally saying that there's a defect with Jesus, and we know we don't do it. There's no defect with the perfect one, Jesus. So, take the time and do the work and think about these things. And allow yourself to embrace what God died to do. Why did Jesus hang on the cross? He had to do it a certain way so that you could be grafted in. Because it wasn't enough. Even with adoption, some of us, our family lines are probably so wrapped up in peace and just mysticism and mess, and it probably some of it may even trace back to the devil himself. So if we don't have that grafting, then these spirits have a right. But when you're grafted in, all claims on that former person have dissolved. They don't exist anymore because that person ceases to exist. They have no further claims to you. That is why you have to be a new creature. If you're going back to the same person, you're gonna feel the same way. You have the same claim. Now there are other things too. I was listening to a man of God. And he was speaking about how people, even when they stutter, and the first thing they'll do is they'll become angry. And that's the same thing. It's a rejection spirit. And so many things that the devil does, anger and all of these are all high level spirits that will gang up and they will network around a person's life. And it's our job to first of all do what we have to do to free ourselves and then do everything we can do to free the next person. If you do that, and that's what you busy yourself with, I can guarantee you don't have to worry about the rapture. Because when the rapture comes, if God comes and finds you busy, he said, what will I do if the fire be already kindled? If he comes and finds fire, you don't have to worry about it. It's like, you're going up. I can guarantee you're going up. But if he comes and finds you dejected and rejected and waiting on somebody to give you externally, to give you from their extrinsic viewpoint and vantage point to impute upon you some intrinsic value, you will not be busy for God. And when he comes, he will find you wanting. Don't wait. I like to listen to Pastor Win Worley at times. Because he said, so many times he would go to churches, and in the churches, the deliverance ministers were some special somebody. And all the other people, they had to go back and not go back because just the highly trained people. And he said that they would be angry at him because when he come in, he said everybody needs to grab a leg and get busy. Be busy for God. Don't sit around and wait because a person can sit on the pew living out someone else's vision. And that person is telling you to sit and wait for their approval. Make no mistake, they're not a bad person. They're a person who's vision oriented, and maybe they're a little bit misguided in the fact that they can't trust God to give them provision for their vision without breaking down yours. So, think about these things and reflect on these things. And I'm sure this is not the last we'll discuss this. But we didn't have time to go back to the dream terminals tonight. So we'll get into that a little bit on our next podcast. Until then, guys, bye-bye.